And welcome back to Blake's Den, and this is my 1996 Land Rover Defender 300 TDI single cab pickup, and in this video I'm going to give this a service. So let's make a start. So more specifically what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the oil. Got some Manual Defender semi-synthetic 20W40, 7 litres. I think it takes like 6 and a bit, random amount. I've also got over here a new oil filter and new washers to go on the sump plug. I've got myself a new diesel filter, and in here I've got myself a new air filter. So I've been meaning to do this for ages and ages, but I've just never got around to doing it. The Defender doesn't do a lot of miles, but the miles it does are really useful. An old engineer once said to me, an oil change is cheaper than an engine rebuild, and they were right. So, you know, a bit of preventative maintenance won't do it any harm. I don't know when it was last serviced, so yeah, we'll just make a start and get it done. I've had it running for a bit. The engine oil's slightly warm. First thing I'll do, I'll drop all the engine oil out, and then we can do all the other bits whilst that's draining. Right, you join me under the Defender with my 19mm socket on the sump plug. Let's see if that was surprisingly loose, that. Wonder if that's where all my oil leaks have been coming from. Right, let's get my trusty washing up bowl in place. Apply some pressure onto the sump plug so that it doesn't fly out, and then of course, yeah, it all misses the bowl. Great. Right, I'm going to let that drain and then get cleared up. Cleaned up the sump plug, and it came with a flat washer and a copper washer. The old one didn't have the flat washer on, just a copper washer, so I'll try putting that on like that now that it's finished draining, and that'll allow me to then clean up that oil mess, and then I can get the air filter, get the oil filter off, and then the air filter, then the diesel filter. Cleaned up that oil slick, and this is what the oil looks like, which has come out. I mean, diesel oil always looks thick and black and horrible, but it doesn't look too bad. I can't see any particles floating in it, so yeah, I think that's all right. The oil filter's in a really awkward position to film. Obviously below the engine, or on the side of the engine, but right above the axle. So I'm going to see if I can get my oil filter wrench on there and get that undone. Here it goes. I thought working on the Mini was hard, but dear me, this is something else. At least you don't have to jack it up. Alright, okay, I need a little bit more space on the oil filter wrench. I thought that this was designed so you could work on it in the outback with only like a fork and you know, shoelace or something like that to repair it, but yeah, there you go. Right, oil filter wrench is on. Alright, and oil filter was actually fairly loose as well, so probably actually didn't even need the wrench on it. Right, I anticipate that this might be a bit messy when this comes down. Okay, so supporting the weight of it, I don't even know if you can see this or not, and we've got oil everywhere. Hopefully I'll just dribble down over the axle into my bowl. Right, okay, it's so oily now I can barely turn it, but it's just on the verge of coming out. A bit like that. You see, I knew it was a good job to put this down. Right, can I get this through? Oh, it doesn't fit through that gap. I'll have to come up and over. There we are. One oil filter. I've had enough of lying on the floor for now, So the next job I want to tackle is the diesel filter, which is here, lives next to the bonnet stay. Never actually done one of these before, but I kind of know what I need to do. So again, this should turn off. I've just put a little takeaway tub below it, just to catch any excess diesel, which will come out of it, or should come out of it. And then it should just be a case of getting my wrench on, he says. And then, can't get the wrench on because of a tub. Put the wrench on first. Put the tub in. There we are. That's how this works, you just tighten it up. And it's a metal band, grips around the filter. And then just need to turn it the right way to undo it, which will be this way. Again, that was fairly loose. Couldn't really turn it by hand though to start off with. Now if I back this off. Right, and then we'll slowly unwind. There we are. And that is full of diesel oil. Just draining the old filter there, and I made this really odd discovery. It's got a valve on the bottom, or a cap on the bottom, so if you've got any water in your diesel, you undo that. Obviously this whole thing's upside down. But look, someone sort of wedged on some tape, insulating tape. I don't know if that's to give it a better grip or something, or what, but yeah, I don't know how many years that's been on there, but it's on there. Right, what we'll do, we'll get the new one on straight away to stop any dirt getting into the system. Here's the new filter from all makes 4x4. Just like any sort of oil filter or anything like that, you should lubricate it, the seal, before you put it back on. So I'm just going to use some of the old diesel to do that. I'm also going to attempt to put some of the diesel in it as well, because that'll make the next step a bit easier. Also as well, on the bottom, yeah, this has a plastic cap on it and this plastic sort of ring on it, which I thought was odd. So getting it back on should be straightforward. I'm just going to put the O-ring on first over the screw thread. So I think that'll make my life easier for aiming the screw thread. And we'll get this in here, and we want to turn it that way. Just one of those fiddly things where it's just like too big and the access is just not good enough. So I'm going to get this on. Okay, that's going on now. Just a bit of upwards force on the bottom of the filter. We'll see if I haven't turned it, and then we'll just tighten that up by hand. It doesn't have to be super tight, but I've got very oily hands at the moment, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to give my hands a wipe. I'll give the filter a wipe, and then we'll get this really nipped up tight. If that's back on, you've still got air in the diesel system, which is bad. It might self-bleed, but it might not. So what I'm going to do, just 10mm socket, I'm going to crack open this bleed nipple here, and then you come around here. Not sure if you're even going to be able to see this, but there is the fuel pump, and on the back of the fuel pump is a little lever, and if I do that, it should start pumping fuel, and then eventually I'll see fuel coming out of the filter at the bleed point on the filter. After a few pumps, you can start to see this sort of bubbly liquid coming out. So I'm just going to keep pumping that until the bubbles stop. It might take a while. I've been warned, I did read up on the internet, this can take a while to do. The other option is you just crank it till it starts. So yeah, you could just do that. I'm happy I've got most of the air out of that diesel system now. So the next job I'll do, I'll change the air filter, which is super simple, he says. Just undo this incredibly stiff ring nut. Then the air filter assembly should just withdraw. It's like a big cylinder. Come on. Oh, there's another nut holding that on. It's also incredibly dusty in here. I don't know when the last time this was being done, but it definitely needs doing. At least it's a Fram filter, which is a, you know, a good make. That's it doesn't look too bad actually. I mean, a lot of dust at that end. That's kind of where you want it. On the inside, it doesn't look too bad. I'm going to give that a quick clean over and we'll put the new filter in. Well, I've got the new filter here. I've just written on there the mileage. It was installed at 109,671 on the 22nd of August 2024. The new filter also comes with a new rubber seal. It's like an O-ring and a new washer as well. So let's get this all back together. So I've got the rubber washer and the metal washer on the wing nut. The old rubber washer on there looked fine, but we'll replace it anyway. Not sure if this is the right way around or whether it should be the other way around, but this is the way it's going to go on. Got it in nice and tight. Obviously it's got it seal up against the seal at the other end. Yeah, I'd say that's tight enough. And then out the cover. Obviously that's where the air goes in. Yeah. So we'll stick that back on. And get that tightened up as well. To fit the oil filter, I'm just going to have a quick degrease under here to get some of the oil off, which went everywhere when I took the oil filter off. One thing I've noticed is this gaiter on the steering drop arm is split. That's going to be an MOT fail, so I'm going to have to get myself a new one of them. Right, I'm going to clean this up a bit and then we'll get the oil filter in. Well, you could look at it as a bit of additional rust protection. So just like the diesel filter, I've put a bit of oil in there. I've not filled it up massively just because how I need to turn it to get it in. But some oil in there and I've oiled up the seal as well, and then I'll reach over and put that in. So again, just a case of reaching up, remembering where it goes. I can just about see it. Bit of upwards force, start the thread off and get it hand tight. In fact, this one actually says turn 3/4 of a turn once you've got it tight. There we are. So that's tight, and then I'm going to reposition and 3/4 turn it. Right, with the oil filter tight and with the sump plug nice and tight, we can start thinking about oil, and this is what I'm putting in. I think I bought it from a website when I bought all the bits. It's like a service kit. So I'm just going to climb up in the engine bay and pour this in. I'll stop recording now because it'll make the most dullest of videos. So the oil capacity is 6.7 litres. So let's see what we've got. I've put nearly that full bottle in, which was 7 litres. And bear in mind, I've only sort of half filled the oil filter. I will have to top this up after I've run it. So where are we on the dipstick? I think we're just at the full mark. Quite hard to tell with clean oil. but that's good enough for me. Right, so I'm happy everything's screwed back together correctly. What I'm going to do, I'm going to attempt to start this now. One of two things will happen. One, it'll fire up straight away and run. Two, it'll struggle for a few turns whilst the last of the air is purged out of the diesel system. That could actually help, because that'll help prime the oil a bit more before it fires up. So yeah, it'll either run or it won't run, then will run. So yeah, let's see what happens. Okay, glow plugs on. We're in neutral and ready to crank. Fired up straight away. I must have got all the air out. So just check the oil light's gone out. Yeah, oil light has gone out. And I don't know if it's just me or not, but that sounds a lot quieter than it used to. I'm still having to shout pretty loud. It's still a, you know, a 2.5 litre diesel. But I think that's running a bit better. So I'm going to run now for a few more seconds. I'll turn it off, let the oil drain back in the sump and check the level again. It's been a couple of minutes now. Let the oil drain back into the sump. So we'll check the oil. Always wipe your dipstick. So that is half full now. So as expected, I need to top it up with some more. And that's the oil topped up. Bang on full now. So let's give it a quick run. I just reach in here. Sweet. It's quite a distinctive sound, is the old 300 TDI. And if we look underneath, if you obviously ignore all the oil that I spilt, not actually dripping any. There's 2 drips there under the axle. That's just off the oil filter from when I got that off. So yeah, happy with that. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this video useful. If you did find it useful, press that like button below. And if you want to see more of this vehicle, press subscribe and you'll be notified of all my latest videos as soon as they come out, and it costs you nothing. Also, if you got any questions, drop them in the comments below. I respond to all of my comments. So thank you again, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.